Welcome to my home.
Hi, I'm Cindy Merritt and I'm your local real estate partner. And just like you, I live, work, and play in the Richmond, Virginia area and all around our wonderful surrounding counties. We are starting something new with Make Yourself at Home RVA, so make sure you stay tuned to the very end. Now let's go check out what we're going to do today. Today we are visiting the Valentine Museum. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so fun because this is a museum all about Richmond. We are here with Eric Stagletter, who is the Director of Marketing at the Valentine Museum. And Eric, what are we going to do today?
So today you have the privilege of going on a tour with Mackenzie. She is our Visitor Services Manager. You're going to see some of our exhibitions. You're going to see some of the interesting things we have on display, and you're just going to get a good overview of what we have here on display at the Valentine.
Wonderful, I can't wait. You ready to go? Hey Mackenzie, give me a little bit about the history of the Valentine Museum. I mean, Richmond has been here since the 1700s. So how did the museum start, and what do we have here?
Well, the museum was originally founded by man Valentine II. He was a Richmonder, a businessman, who was really interested in arts and culture and history. He traveled to Europe and seen the museums they had there. So he started this private collection of objects from the area, from all over the place, and that is what went on to become the Valentine Museum.
So these artifacts that you have here are all somehow related to the Richmond and surrounding areas.
Exactly. When Mr. Valentine opened the museum in 1898, it was to be a museum for Richmonders,
Okay.
but since then it has also evolved to be a museum of Richmond history. So nowadays our mission is to interpret and collect Richmond history.
Wonderful. Okay, so if someone out there who's watching has an artifact or a piece of Richmond history that they would like to donate to you, can they do that? And if so, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we have an online form, as with anything else, and that lets people that are interested in donating something explain what the thing is, how they know about its history, and how it's related to Richmond. That's one of the most important criteria.
Right.
And that gets them in contact with our collections department, who's able to walk through all of that with them. So.
And what is that?
So right here we have a variety of oversized objects related to those questions.
Okay.
We have a dugout canoe, James River. Critical
James River.
to the existence of Richmond.
Absolutely.
In a variety of ways, from
Yes.
when Native Americans lived here and were using the James River as means of transportation for
Okay.
themselves and their things.
So how old is this canoe, and is it a Native American canoe?
It is a
as
Native
well?
American canoe that was found in the area in the James River, but we don't have an exact date on it.
And what about the big gun here? What, the big rifle? Where did that come from?
So the big gun was a display outside of the store. So it was never a working gun, just to be clear.
Too big.
But basically it was an indicator of what the store had at a time when you would want signs you didn't need to be literate to read.
Okay. I know what this is. This is the Miller and Rhodes clock, isn't it?
Exactly. This clock is iconic from the Miller and Rose department store.
It is. I remember saying to people, meet me under the clock, because that's what everybody in Richmond did. Okay, so one of the main reasons people settled here in the Richmond area was because of our wonderful James River. And tell me about why the fall line.
So the fall line is a geographical feature of the river. As many of you know, in the area we have rapids and rocks, and what that means for socially, politically, why a city would form here is that larger boats carrying all the stuff you would need can't get farther up the river. So at that point in the river is where many cities were formed, and on the James River that would be Richmond at the fall line. So Monumental is one of our temporary exhibitions that we put together as a result of all of the chaos and conversation that's been going on related to monuments both here and in Charlottesville as well. So in this gallery, we have a lot of context about the history of Richmond's monuments and a lot of footage of those monuments as well.
So this is somewhat a controversial area as well, but it's also a place for discovery and for people to appreciate and discuss the various monuments that we have all through our city and along Monument Avenue and that sort of thing. Is that right?
Yes, it's definitely a controversial topic, but the Valentine is not trying to take a stance on that topic. We're trying to document the monuments that exist and allow people that have differing viewpoints on the monuments to be in the same space. So in this gallery, we've included an interactive aspect that is just writing down parts of people's opinions on Post-it notes and sticking them up on the wall so we can see where other Richmonders are at with this topic.
Okay, that's good.
So here at the Valentine, we always have a costume and textiles exhibit going on.
Okay.
This is our current costume and textile exhibit, and it is all about the power of fashion, women designers, women business owners. So we start out with hat makers and women who own their own millineries, and then we go all the way up to today, women who are designing and women who are using fashion in other ways to create their own power. Dresses in this exhibit run from 1875 custom-made wedding dresses through to the inauguration gown of the First Lady of Virginia.
Okay.
Way back to just now.
Just current. Okay, and you were telling me about the Bermuda bags. Tell me about the Bermuda bags.
Exactly. The Bermuda bags turned into a preppy craze across the country with all different iterations, but they started right here in Richmond. Designer Dee Heyer originally came up with them, so they made it into the exhibit.
And she lives here.
Exactly.
That is very cool.
So we're outside the Valentine Museum, and there is some amazing architecture. Tell me what we've got right here.
Yes, so when you walk up to the Valentine, you'll see 3 different buildings that are all Valentine on the inside. So all the way at the end on the 11th Street corner is the Wickham House, which is an example of federal architecture built in 1812. And then later in the 1800s, these row-style apartments were constructed, and inside those have all been renovated in the past couple of years to be the Valentine Galleries. And then the 3rd building right behind us was originally built in 1840 as a home, and then before it got torn down, instead they moved it to this location and turned it into our entrance.
Wonderful. So we've got all 3 of these buildings are all part of the Valentine.
Exactly.
It's a lot bigger than you think it is. Okay, so one of my favorite things about the Valentine Museum, when you come in off of East Clay Street, it looks like you're coming into a historic home for Richmond. But then it's like the TARDIS. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And what's outside? This is so cool. I love this.
Signs of the Times. So this is one of our larger scale exhibits, a permanent display of different neon signs from businesses around Richmond that have either closed or changed names, whatever the case may be.
Thank you so much for taking us on a brief mini tour of the Valentine Museum. We really enjoyed it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming to the Valentine.
Thank you. So all of our viewers out there, take time to visit your own city, learn about the history, learn about all the wonderful things that we have here. Come on down to the Valentine, make yourself at home. You will be really glad you did.
Cindy Merritt is nationally recognized as a leader in the U.S. real estate market. Of the more than 35,000 realtors in Virginia, the American Institute of Real Estate Professionals consistently ranks Cindy in the top 10 best realtors in the state.
Make Yourself at Home is sponsored in part by Paul Adams, branch manager and nationally recognized senior loan officer with Prime Lending, a Plains Capital company. With over 400 mortgage options available, Paul Adams and his team work hard to uncover the key to each client's mortgage success.
Everyone who likes our Facebook site, likes our guests' Facebook site, and then shares our video will be entered into a drawing for a 5-day, 4-night hotel getaway anywhere in 50 locations in the United States.